Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
They had their chance to learn about my ideas 15 years ago. Now they'll pay for their scorn. I'll exact vengeance upon those fools who treated me like a madman and drove me into the shadows.
This is episode 165, recorded June 8th, 2022.
Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Doc Rotten, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1970 and 1979. Each episode, my co-host Jeff Mohr and I will tackle another classic, or not so classic, film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. With me this week is my co-host, the one and only Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
I'm great. Yep,
Excellent. Also joining us tonight is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, and all-around nice guy. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing great. Just got done with Con Carolinas, and school's about to let out, and summer begins. Woo!
Woo. All right. Also joining us tonight is Chad Hunt, comic book artist and co-host of Decades of Horror. All of them. All right. Which is Decades of Horror? The 1980s, the 1970s. He does it all, ladies and gentlemen.
And he still looks like Bill Mulligan. There he is.
Chad Hunt. He still looks like Bill Mulligan.
Some say that's not a bad thing.
Not many.
Yeah.
Just trying to be.
Oh! Sorry, I got carried away. All right, tonight we are recording our review of Terror of Mechagodzilla, the 1975 entry of the Showa-Era of Godzilla films. The last one, or is it Showa? Showa? Yes.
Showa.
Shall we?
Tomato.
Shall we continue?
Let's go the whole thing off. All right, and this is an interesting one because it follows along behind a couple of questionably crafted films.
Questionable.
And so we are going to gather and we're going to share our thoughts about this and determine whether this was a good send-off or not. Yes.
Okay.
I don't think there's
We're
any
going to do
debate.
it. We're going to do it. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to let everybody know when we first saw this and what our first impression was, and we're going to talk about the film. And then I think, Jeff, you have some feedback for the end of the show?
We do.
Excellent. Let's get into this card because this is an interesting card. And Jeff, you outdid yourself because that's the greatest picture ever. Terror.
Those are the pajamas I wear to bed.
I believe it.
Boy, that just screams terror right there. Ooh.
And not only the terror, it's the terror of Mechagodzilla. Yes. Directed by Ishirô Honda and Jun Fukuda.
Here we go.
Earlier film clips, yes. Written by Yukiko Takayama. And there's a cast.
Apologize to the nation of Japan.
Yes.
There's a cast. They're suit actors. I'm not going to bring on the pain. It was released March 15th, 1975 in Japan, March 1977 in the U.S. There's a few other titles. I'm not going to do that. The synopsis is Terror, Mechagodzilla, 1975. That's the salvage.
Ooh.
Mechagodzilla are thwarted, causing an Interpol investigation that uncovers the work of shunned biologist and his daughter, whose life becomes entwined with a resurrection machine, or the resurrected machine. Yes, it's focused, oddly enough, more on Mechagodzilla than Godzilla himself, but we'll get into that. First, we need to find out, when did we first see this movie and what do we think? First, before we even do that, I just want to go around table. Like, I have proclaimed myself a huge fan of Godzilla films. I love them all, bad, good. I prefer the good ones. But, I still... hey, there's a kitty cat. The monster rises from the deep.
Of course.
And Bill, of course, you, sir, are a huge kaiju fan. So
yes.
So, right? And
Yeah.
What about you? What about you, Jeff? Are you a kaiju fan? Do you love Godzilla?
I'm working on it.
Working on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
It's a work in progress.
I didn't have access to hardly any of them when I was younger, so I'm catching up.
Catching up. And Chad, sir.
Big time Godzilla fan.
Oh yeah.
Kaijus. I've owned all of them on VHS, DVD, as many as I can get my hands. I think I own them all at this point. So yeah, I'm a big Godzilla fan.
He's a good Godzilla artist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I imagine you have a lot of the Godzilla comics as well, even the Marvel ones. Maybe?
Absolutely, the Marvel one series. Yeah, Herb Trimpe.
Love the Marvel series. Looked nothing like Godzilla, but I loved it anyway.
No, it didn't.
Oh man! And
but
then,
officially
course,
licensed by Toho.
I don't know.
Yep,
Is Art
yep.
Adams possibly the best
He's
Godzilla artist?
awfully good.
Okay,
hands down. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of good, great even.
Art Adams is pretty much the best at whatever Art Adams draws.
Well,
so, yeah.
there you go. That might be true. All right, so let's go ahead. Who picked this film? Was it Bill Mulligan?
Right, be me.
Sir, you are first. When did you first see The Terror of Mechagodzilla, and what did you think?
I feel like I saw it on TV not too long after it was in the theaters. It was definitely on TV, and I think I saw this before I saw the original Mechagodzilla. So this was my first introduction, and then regrettably I watched the others, and in the others it was, more kiddie stuff. This one is a darker, more adult film, and I've always liked that. This was not the first Godzilla movie I ever saw. The first one was Godzilla, and then Son of Godzilla, probably. But this was like the last of the bunch, and I think really a return to a more adult, darker, more serious thing than it had been. And obviously that was not what the Japanese audiences wanted, because this remains and will likely always be the lowest attended Godzilla film in Japan. I think by the time it came out, I know, by the time it came out, this was on a double feature with like animated movies about hamsters. Seriously. And it was strictly a kiddie thing. It's a strange thing, but I think the Japanese looked at Godzilla the way we look at Gamera. And it was, now he's a bigger deal, and I think better respected, because they saw just how popular he was outside of Japan. So, you got to go with the flow there. He's like the symbol of Japan. As symbols go, he's got the bald eagle beat 10 ways to Sunday. But this film, it's good. Now, watching it again now, it had not struck me before how little Godzilla is in it. Like, it's a long time before he shows up. There's a lot of stuff with aliens and spies and reporters and Titanosaurus, who I like. Apparently, he's like the least popular kaiju of all the monsters that Godzilla fights. I don't get that at all. I think he's a totally cool creature. Kind of got a goofy voice, but oh well.
We'll chat.
Yeah. So I like this film a lot, and I'm glad I picked it. So hopefully everyone else enjoyed it too.
Excellent. Jeff, sir, I can't wait to hear this. When did you first see The Terror of Mechagodzilla, and what was your first impression?
I first saw this we did Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla in March last year. So right before that is when the first time I saw Terror of Godzilla, because I knew somebody would bring it up, the sequel, so I wanted to at least know what they were talking about. So I watched it again, and one of the things I like, I'm really glad I'm doing this with you guys, because if I just watch this on my own, I'd be like, oh my God, I can barely wade through this. How can I stay to the end? But then I watch it a second time, and then I get into I can't think of any other word for it than the campiness of it, and the ridiculous, the anthropomorphizing of all the fight scenes.
Yes.
Sort of a cross between boxing and wrestling and Three Stooges. So you know what? I enjoyed it in the end. I'm such a lover of the very first Godzilla movie that when they started going so off the rails, I was kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt like they had a really cool thing going on, and they went for the kind of the kid side of it. And, that's okay. Kids need something to follow. Sure. But I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say it's a good movie, but I enjoyed it. It's just wacky enough to watch with a what's the word I want? Tongue in cheek kind of.
We'll put that on the backs. Just wacky enough. All right, Chad, sir, the Uber fan here. When did you first see the terror of Mechagodzilla, and what did you make of it? You're still on mute, sir.
No, I was being
Ah.
that
Oh,
right
well, bury the lead on that one,
there.
sorry.
Okay. If you believe that, I got a bridge in New York. I was.
You just move your lips and I'll say stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I first saw this like Bill. I think I saw it on TV soon after it came out, and I hate to say this, but I love all Godzilla films, and I think the cool thing about Godzilla is he can be serious, like he was in the first Gojira. He can be funny. It can be, like Megalon and some of those that we get into later on. Some of those films, which are just silly kid stuff, and Godzilla is one of those characters. You can always tell a good character is good when you can drop him in any kind of a situation. Batman's pretty much the same thing. Batman can be a detective story. Batman can be horror. Batman can be Justice League, cosmic adventures, that kind of thing. So a good character, you can pretty much put him in any situation and tell a good story. Now, I've always felt that way with Godzilla, and I feel that way with this one too. And it is a darker version, I think, more mature themes and stuff like that. And even the way it's shot is different. To me, Titanosaurus is sort of a silly looking thing when it's brightly lit. But there's a few moments early on in the film where it was at night and he just looked so much more menacing when he was darkly lit, and I remember that always stuck with me too. But yeah, this is another one that I just love, even though Godzilla doesn't show up for an hour into the film. You still get that last battle at the end, and it's like WWE, that kind of fight going on while all this human drama is going on around him, and that's Godzilla, So I enjoyed this film too.
All right, so I have a confession to make. A week ago, I would have told you certainly I saw this in the late 70s on TV, right? Certainly, it's Terror Mechagodzilla. It's one I know about. I've seen it. I've read about it in the trades, right? In the famous monsters, whatnot. Certainly I'd seen it. So I watched it over the weekend. Nope, I hadn't seen it.
Wow.
I had not seen this movie. I knew nothing about the wacky alien. Well, there's always wacky aliens, but these two particular wacky aliens and the scientist that looks like Colonel Sanders and his robot daughter. And yes, all this is true. And then Titanosaurus, the long neck monster who farts and waves them at everybody. I just do not get this Titanosaurus. But anyway, I had a great time with this movie. Like most of the Godzilla movies of this age, with rare exceptions, if you watch it with just any bit of being tired or worn out, you're going to go to sleep. But I did finally get to watch it all in one sitting, and I kind of dug it. It's so much different than the previous two movies from the 70s, and I love Smog Monster, even though that was kind of silly too. But I love Smog Monster. It was one of my favorites. But it really does shift the tone back to a little bit more serious, and even though it's some of the plot points are preposterous, it's taking everything seriously, and it's just ridiculous in that respect, but fun. And when the monsters come out and they find Titanosaurus and Mechagodzilla are going through the town, right? It's fun. And then, so we don't get Godzilla proper until midway, and then he comes back again. But both times he just kind of like appears. Yeah. Like there's no usual bubbling out of the ocean and then coming up and stomping on shore, right? He just like ma-na-na. You turn around.
He just knows to come, right?
He's at the edge of the city going, burn. He's ready to fight. And I'm like,
he's always just hanging around.
WTF? Did he just know? What's he doing? And if there's a plot to that, I totally missed it.
Which brings up the biggest plot hole in this whole movie that Godzilla really is just hanging around. Everyone knows about the idea that any scientist would be drummed out of Japan for speculating that there's a dinosaur living in the ocean. It's like, if anything, they would be laughing at him because, yeah, we know. I mean, what else? Oh, are you going to tell us that there's fish there too? You're really breaking new ground there, Richard Attenborough. I mean, no one would disbelieve dinosaurs in the ocean. That's kind of an everyday thing. So, yeah.
Well, I think they're really just mad about how he was dressed.
Yeah.
I mean, am I the only one that thought that's Colonel Sanders? It's Colonel Sanders up on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't because
I know it's a total American thing. I don't think anybody outside the States would ever think that. But
I'm not a subtle American.
That mustache looked pretty fake too.
Well, there was a lot that did, but I don't know. And then the whole robot thing was funny. And then I don't know. I forgot how cheesy and fun the blaster effects are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they're all like illustrated onto the screen and stuff. And I mean, they're not like some of the really wonky ones where they actually scratch the negatives, right, Bill? But this is actually overlaid. But I don't know.
Early CGI here.
But I just couldn't believe, like, okay, Godzilla is literally just going to show up for 2 fights, just literally.
Yeah.
Turn around. I mean, it's great because they cue the music, and that music is so incredibly awesome.
I love music in this. I love the opening. The opening theme is one of my favorite Godzilla themes. He just kept doing variations of the original over and over again, but they're all great. Just super fun.
And then Ishirô Honda returns.
Yes.
And you can see,
Honda.
you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell.
I mean, the scenes when they first see Mechagodzilla inside the whatever that was, that those are really shot like very dark and impending doom kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, they captured the scale really well, and the build.
He's a good director,
fantastic as they always have, right?
People don't realize Honda came out of retirement to work on the last few Kurosawa movies. By that point, Kurosawa was nearly blind, and he needed someone to actually, be out there making sure that his vision was done. And he turned to Honda. I mean, that's how well respected this guy was. He was not just a guy who made cheap monster movies. He was a good filmmaker. And it's nice to, and if they're going to send it off, get the original guy, bring him in.
So I guess my final comment would be, I was surprised how much quality is in this film. Because it usually gets that stamp of disapproval, right? The last couple films in the 70s all have that, like it was petering out and people weren't liking it. So you presume
some of the latter ones, the suits are falling apart. There's a lot of stock footage, and there is in this one too. And some of the special effects are admittedly badly done. There's some of the compositing that, you see the city and you see the monsters behind it, but it's almost at chest level. Like,
they're like here.
It made no sense. So some of that needed to another pass.
The scale in some of these movies is always
questionable.
In question, yeah.
Well, they always change, right? Change.
And of course, it's ridiculous. Look, Titanosaurus waves his tail. I know it's got a fin, but so what? And it turns into gale force winds. Listen, I'll accept a lot. I'll suspend my disbelief. Yes, a dinosaur that big would not be able to support its own weight. Get out of here. I don't care about that. But the whole wind thing has always
all on the technique.
There is all I guess. But it's all that. It's a special fin because it goes poof.
Flick of the fin and
he literally has wins. He literally has to turn around to fight Godzilla the first couple times so he can wave his
and didn't it look just hilarious when he was bent over and the tail's going and his butt shaking?
It's a Titorchosaur. Yeah.
Well, what was with the jumping up and down stuff too? That was interesting.
When he was when he had
Godzilla one time
buried?
he just But then he also
tamping the earth,
jumps up into the air. Titanosaurus jumps up into the air so that those jets fly into his chest, or at least.
That was awesome.
I'm worried.
Well, something new. Something new. All right. So it took 2 years for it to get to the States. I guess that wasn't unheard of. Some of them. All right, so let's what's some of the taglines here? Metal meets monster, battle to save the Earth. From a black hole in space, they came to conquer Earth. Which is talking about the aliens because they come from where? What was the name of their planet again, Bill Mulligan?
It was like Black Hole 3. It was, like
Black Hole Planet 3.
Like Black Hole Planet 3.
Simians, though, right? Simians,
I mean, literally a planet that sucks. I mean,
so that's a thing that got changed. So I noticed it in the 5 minutes of lead up where they patch in the the what happened in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. We don't see any of them as apes because in this movie they aren't apes.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
but they're supposed to be the same aliens, though.
I forgot about that.
Right.
But they do have those crazy. That reminds me. There was a villain on what was it? Battle of Spaceship Earth or something like that. What is it that had the pointy things on?
Battle of
the Planets, right?
Battle of the Planets, yeah.
Right? Yeah, and they had the long nose, long chin, and it looked just like that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's look at some of these posters, shall we? Boom, Terra Godzilla.
Take my money.
I remember.
Yeah.
And
that looks like they just. I think when they re-released it on DVD or something, and said we got to have because that's the more modern style posters, and that is rocking good. Look how cool Titanosaurus looks there. That's.
Yeah, he actually looks pretty badass there.
Yeah.
Mechagodzilla's like honking big.
He's got a mohawk. And then the Germans. Oh, Germany.
Unknown.
We got to get King Kong. And actually, like several places in Europe, it sounded like. I think Spain or Italy, too, had a title.
I think a lot of the German versions of Godzilla movies, they kept calling the monsters Frankenstein. Because I guess that is generic for monster. And then they would, they kept calling Mechagodzilla Kong. But this one, the poster, they actually have the balls to put King Kong in the poster.
Actually Kong
with like F-15s or something.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was also about when De Laurentiis King Kong was coming out, or
yes. If it was 76, it would be,
Look, I'm used to movie posters lying to me. I still haven't gotten over A Beast with a Million Eyes. But this takes it to a level way beyond anything, What?
And of course, we talked about Ishirô Honda.
Yeah.
Who was
this was his seventh Godzilla movie, seventh and final Godzilla movie. And Godzilla is I believe it is still the Guinness World Record for the longest film series. I can't think of anything else.
Even longer than Bond.
Yeah, 30
longer than Bond. Yeah.
Is it 36 films? Do I have the number
right?
That sounds about right.
You could throw any number out there, and I'd probably say, that seems legit.
That's one of the later costumes of Godzilla there.
Yeah, Godzilla looked good in this one. He didn't look like
he's cute in this one.
But he's not. He doesn't look funny.
He's got that little almost a smile and the big eyes.
It's an expressive face when they show the flashback from the first one where he first realizes that the Godzilla that he's fighting is a robot. He kind of is like, huh? Yeah, I love that look. He's cute. He's cute because he's a defender of the Earth and he's not scary or anything. Those annoying little kids who should have been stomped by Titanosaurus, he rescues them. So that's a little bit of Gamera there. The old Godzilla, he doesn't love you. He doesn't hate you. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't even know you're there. You're ants. Ants on the sidewalk. Makes no apologies.
Yep, that's the Godzilla I love.
You're on the wrong sidewalk at the wrong time.
Beast. Well, here's this familiar face, except for now. He looks like it. I'm not going to say it. But he has
he got his eye back.
Yeah.
He did, didn't he? I guess that's a thing that happens.
Is it the same character?
Same actor. No, because that character died.
Sarazawa.
Yeah, he died.
He got oxygen destroyed all right there.
So it's a different character.
And boy, he is swinging for the fences in this role.
It's kind of kind of fun. It makes the movie quite entertaining when he definitely if there's scenery to be chewed, he's on it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's chewing the scenery, and it's great.
He's sort of forced to chew the scenery. Look at that hair and the eyebrows.
Well, he owns it though. He owns it. It
Yeah,
works
yeah.
though. It oddly it works, especially against the two preposterous aliens that we have,
Mhm.
who like to change their outfits every time they go
Yeah,
to a new scene.
Yeah.
2 aliens, 2 Interpol agents, and then
There's a
the guy
reporter.
they decided called Itchy Nose, the Ichinose. That's the biologist, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny because in the original movie, it's deadly serious. There's not a laugh to be found, and his performance is pretty good and understated. Oh, this is just the exact opposite of that.
He fell in love with a robot.
He's having a ball here.
Oh yeah.
Yep, and
There
there's
she
our heroine, and
Kinda,
you were going to say, Bill?
she's kind of cute.
Yeah, and she's conflicted. She's actually a fairly complex character, especially since she's a robot or cyborg. I guess she's a cyborg, not a robot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and that's the thing.
She has a beating heart and their head.
I never understood these, like, you are a cyborg, you are a cold machine with no emotions. It's like, no, not really. I still have the brain. You just you filled my body up with like every electronics moving thing that you could find. So
That was
doesn't
awesome.
really look like it doesn't really look like it would work, but okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it would work at all.
No,
You see,
especially
like,
that middle picture when they're working on her and it shows the internal workings
Yes,
of the inside. Look, I think we missed the scene where the squirrel jumped that was on the turning wheel, jumped out and ran away.
Right.
There was definitely a squirrel cage in there.
Yeah.
Yes. It was hilarious. All right, so let's get into the monsters, starting off with Titanosaur. All right, Bill, please your case.
Well, okay, look, he's a dinosaur. So right off the bat, I like that. And he's a lot more colorful than most of them there. And I guess that this is when people started putting out the idea that dinosaurs were not the drab gray elephant colored things that we always thought they were, but could have, interesting things. He lives in the ocean. Fish in the ocean are colorful. He's got fins. I like the design. I just, and you know what? And I feel bad for him because Titanosaurus was minding his own business, was not bothering anyone until these scientists and aliens had to go mucking around with him. And then he's attacking submarines and comes up on land and, comes to no good end and everything. It's like, should have just left him alone.
It's not his
Searching
fault.
for the space titanium.
Yeah.
That somewhere they said that there was some speculation around that time that dinosaurs might have been lighter colored or more colorful because it would have reflected the sun and kept them cooler.
Okay, that's just dumb.
Well, I loved how his head bobbled when he walked. Obviously, well above.
Well,
the back, it looked like he was going to maybe fall back over.
The actual actor's head is somewhere near the bottom of that neck. So
Yep. Oh man, that's wonderful. And of course, we have Mechagodzilla.
Mechagodzilla is always a genius design.
Right.
In these movies. I mean, for the time, I remember seeing him for the first time on the cover of Monsters, of Famous Monsters.
Filmland, yes.
And just going, what? But he was called the Bionic Monster then, and everybody.
That's right, the Bionic Monster.
Everybody loved Bionics back then due to Steve Austin.
Everything looks better when it's Mecha. Mecha Kong looks better than Kong. So
yeah.
Did you have a picture of the pinhead Mechagodzilla?
I don't. When he gets his head pulled off and he's got that little.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's got what's the cartoon character that has like the little teeny brain at the top of the head? I don't know.
Oh, there's a Baron.
Zippy the Pinhead.
Not Zemo, but
no, not in the comics. It's like some cartoon show.
Oh, okay.
I think it might even be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Let's move on. All right, so here's the battles. And 2 against 1.
Yeah, well, yeah. Godzilla usually has a friend in these, but he's a loner. No, Anguillus bowed out, and
King
so
Caesar.
Where's King Caesar? He was helpful, sort of helpful last time. He
saved the
nah,
world last
done it
one.
once.
No Jet Jaguar.
No Jet
No,
Jaguar.
yeah. Jet Jaguar shows up once. Yeah, forget that. Okay, I question the physics. I do question the physics.
There are no physics at all. There are no physics in that at all.
Give me a break.
And when they get thrown, the body's going like this as it goes in a straight line through the
And they drop kick him, like hundreds of feet.
For that matter, why does Godzilla not use his amazing magnetic powers that we know he has, because they show them to us again in the opening of the movie when they're going over how he defeated Mechagodzilla last time? He suddenly just sort of and then everything metal sticks to him, and he didn't do that. And like, but then he learned to fly once, and he's never done that since either. It's like, I guess his short-term memory is not that good.
Yeah, I think it's all one and done's. Like, oh well, use that one up.
Yeah.
That was one of the other flaws. They showed us, just in case we forgot, they showed us at the beginning of the movie that Mechagodzilla was blown literally to confetti, like no piece bigger than a thumb. And yet there they are in a submarine scouring the bottom of the ocean looking for the remains. It's like, looking for the remains. Did you bring a sieve? Did you bring a colander? Because there was no piece left bigger than X. But I guess still they could melt it down because it's space titanium, right?
Yeah,
they found it all.
Space titanium
from Black Hole Planet 3.
And those black holians, they're pretty.
Say what you will about them.
They're pretty advanced in their technology.
Right next door to the assholians and
buttholians
on the other side.
Well, that is the thing I love is when Godzilla shows up, he just goes running at him. At one time, he runs at him and runs up to him and punches him in the stomach, and I think another time he runs up to him and he like dives. It's like a wrestling takedown kind of thing. Just runs into him shoulder to chest to knock him over.
And one of the best scenes is when Godzilla's running through the explosions and his back is on fire.
That could
so
not
cool.
have been on purpose. That could not have been on
purpose.
No, I can't see it being on purpose.
That was an accident, and it looks great.
Yeah,
it looks great. Awesome. You could just imagine the stuntman inside. He probably had no idea. And although he's like smells like burning, God knows what the fumes and everything. Because we did have the original suit actor of the original Godzilla came to a convention before he passed away and was telling us some of the stories, and they were all hair raising. They're shooting bottle rockets at you. You're in a rubberized suit.
Mm-hmm.
They would catch on fire, and you could see them catch on fire. Sometimes they left those scenes in. They were pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is dangerous on levels most of us can only imagine. Then and then maybe if you're lucky, you're in the Rodan suit. So not only do you have all that, but you're also suspended on wires.
Just flying around.
Yeah. Well, one thing that was cool in the one before this, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, even though, as you guys say, they were kind of going for the kid audience, Godzilla's like spouting blood out of his neck.
Yeah.
Some of those missiles. I hadn't thought about that before.
Even the Gamera movies were really bloody.
Yeah, they were. Mm-hmm.
I guess that doesn't bother. But
violent.
Listen. If you go back
violent.
If you go back and watch Ultraman, every episode of Ultraman usually ended up with Ultraman doing this and slicing a monster into pieces that would just fall down.
Salad flies everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't in one episode he pulled they put a fin on Godzilla costume and he pulled the fin off him?
Yeah. It was like a fin around his neck.
Yeah,
fabulous. He pulls it off and then he plays like he's pretending to be a matador.
With it,
Ultraman's really a dick. He really is. If you watch those shows, he's.
A little kaiju news. You guys, the last Godzilla film was Shin Godzilla, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a Shin Ultraman coming out this summer.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So the same team, creative team. So I guess that's where the title comes from. But they're doing Ultraman, and Chad, we've got to get tickets right away, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I wonder why Godzilla. Well, I guess they're different companies. It'd be interesting to see Godzilla fight Ultraman for reals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Gamera. They've always teased us with the Godzilla versus Gamera. You remember that one from the New York Comic-Con a few years back, like 4 or 5 years back, where they teased it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you bastards.
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. But damn, my favorite is still. I mean, I love the first one, but Godzilla versus King Kong is from the 60s. I love it. It's just, it's the one where they smash that old house up on the hill and like they're on.
Kong crams the tree in Godzilla's mouth.
Oh yeah, he does the tree thing. Yeah. All kinds of great things. Yes.
Yep.
Like,
was it Kong that rolled down the hill, and as he's rolling, he's just crushing whole cities or whole villages and stuff like that?
No, I'm still waiting for the. I guess they'll never do it. The King Kong figure from that movie. I've got the Godzilla from the movie, but I don't know if they'll ever make the King Kong.
Maybe they don't.
And that was one of the better Godzilla costumes, I think, too, from King Kong, Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah, and I didn't mind the costume in this one. It didn't seem to be the same costume from the last movie, was it?
It felt like it. I think
I'd have to look at it again.
No.
I thought it was, but
it's not.
Well, something I read was that the scene where he's walking off into the ocean at the end, that was the scene.
That was a different one.
Yeah, well, they would often use
from the last one.
They would often do that, use previous movies costumes for the water scenes because they knew once they put it in the water it was toast.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, the whole face was different on that one.
Yeah, he was almost smiling. It's like, bye guys.
Oh man. All right. Well, what else do we want to say about this? Do we want to talk about the human characters? Does anybody really care about human characters in the Godzilla movie? Because there's a lot of time given.
We do spend an awful lot of time with them. I mean, they're likable and everything, but you're just waiting for them. It's like, that's nice. Get off the screen. Get Godzilla in here.
I thought it was an interesting look they went for where they used to look like gorillas. Now they look like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They pulled the face off.
Yeah.
So
if you live on a black hole planet, you're probably going to be pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Assuming it's true, it says the Godzilla suit used for the final shot of the movie is actually a promotion suit. It was used for the water scenes, so the main suit would not be damaged. A promotional suit was also used in the prior film, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, during the battle when Godzilla first encounters his disguised duplicate. So when they had two Godzillas fighting, one of them was
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
It's interesting that the way they built these suits, at least up to recently, were they build them from scratch. If you build things from scratch, it's really hard to get them to look exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, that is.
So this is the first film to actually bring back the Godzilla march heard in the main title of the original? Is that the one that we associate with him now? The da-na-na, da-na-na.
Yeah, that's in the new one.
Oh, wow. Because I mean, you hear that and it makes goosebumps go on.
Yeah, it makes your skin go.
Like when they did it in the new movies, like, oh man, oh yeah, I love it. I would have thought, if you'd asked me, I would have said it was in most of them, right? But I guess not.
Yeah, I thought so too. So I don't know if that's true or maybe they're right. I have somewhere a CD of the Godzilla themes and everything. It seems like they reuse stuff over and over again.
That's what I thought too.
And they shot the movie in 1 month at the first of the year, and it was released like 2 months later. Can you believe that?
Wow.
That's insane. Can't do that now with all the special effects, the digital effects and everything. They just shoot it live, right? They have everything.
Yeah, I wonder if you wanted to make a film like this using the old school techniques, I wonder if you could even find the craftsman who can build a miniature cardboard city that can explode and crumble semi-realistically. I don't know if
it would all be CGI now. It would just all be.
That kid who used to sit in his basement making models and everything now sits in his basement doing Photoshop and After Effects, and that's all great. I mean, time marches on and everything, but the skill of being able to make models is probably one that's not as common as it used to be.
Yeah.
The writer of this one was a woman, and it's the only time that a woman wrote it alone. Somebody must have co-authored it at some time, but Yukiko Takayama. And they asked her if she was bothered that Honda changed the script, and she said no. The main thing was to make Katsura the focal point, the cyborg, which was what her thing was.
And they kept that, so she was happy.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. Let's go ahead and wrap this. We've got a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up with. Okay. I want to know where this sits in all 36 films.
Oh my God.
Not necessarily the exact spot, but upper, lower, middle. And has your I want to know, having watched it this past week, has it changed your opinion of this particular entry? So Chad, Bill, actually, let's start with you. They've divided the Godzilla films into like 3 different eras and everything. So of the group that it's clustered with, I would put this in the upper levels. I mean, nothing. Godzilla, the first Godzilla movie, is just so far ahead of everything else. It's an important film. It's a classic film. It's one of the one of those 100 great movies. If they have to put movies in a vault, Gojira goes in there. Yes, it does. The original.
Once they got into the Godzilla versus stuff, Godzilla versus this, Godzilla versus that, started out pretty good, and then began to, as the budgets got smaller and the stuff got more and more juvenile, kind of lost me. This one brings it back. So yeah, I'd put it in the upper level there. Now, if you want to talk about all the films, there's a bunch from some of the other groups, the other eras that I prefer. I know when they started embellishing the suit effects with some optical effects and some good CGI and everything, they achieved and also just telling a more adult tale and taking it very seriously and everything. I appreciate that. But I love all of them, even the ones I don't love, to one degree or another. And this one I just have a lot of fondness for. And I like the fact that if they, had to take a pause, take a rest, put them to pasture for a little bit, that they got the original creator, the original director, and went out without making a joke of it. So this one has a lot of fondness for it. I wish there were more Godzilla in it, but I like it for what it did.
Yeah. Well, that never changes. A couple of years back, it was like, we want more Godzilla in our Godzilla movies.
That's right.
Yeah. That's always the thing. Yeah, but there was 9 years before we get another one. So
yeah,
there you go. All right, Jeff, sir, what is your final thoughts on all the rest of the goodies that we just mentioned?
Yeah, well, I haven't seen enough of them to say where they fit in. I still haven't worked my way through the ones where it changes. We've done some Toho and Kaiju movies on classic era, but not any other Godzilla movies other than the first one. So maybe we'll have to change that at some point. I think they're, just for me, it's just the idea of getting used to that completely different tone. And once I did that, then it's a lot of fun, because really the effects in the first one, the suit actor and that kind of stuff, that stuff comes off pretty good. It comes off pretty real. It could be a monster, but in these other ones, you're just seeing a guy in a suit. That's what I see.
Man in suit.
And that's okay, as long as I know that's what I'm getting. And the crazy stuff they do in the fight scenes, they're literally like throwing punches back and forth, and you're hearing sound effects like the old, you expect to see it. Yeah, those. That's hilarious.
That's
and then you see Titanosaurus swing his foot, and then the next shot is Godzilla flying through the air for who knows how far, and then the one where he's picking him up by his jaw, biting his jaw. I'm like, crazy. So anyway, it's enjoyable. Don't go, and everybody knows this by now except me apparently. So I just have to, every time I watch one, I have to readjust. I have to kind of readjust to what they're going for, and what the sense of it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun watch.
Yeah, I'm certain people have said you got to do Destroy All Monsters on the classic era.
Oh, sure.
I believe so.
Because that's one of the great ones. That really is. That's when they establish Monster Island, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Chad.
Mm-hmm.
Let us have it. Let us have it, sir.
This movie and this whole era of Godzilla represents happy childhood. You know, nothing beat going to the theater, sitting down with your popcorn and watching Godzilla duke it out with another monster for an hour and a half. That just, and and, you know, people go, oh, well, you just remember how good Godzilla. Well, yeah, I do remember, and I love it, and that's okay. It's okay to have that, you know, because it takes you back to happy memories as a kid, you know, and not all of them are great. They're not, but I love them anyway. And so glad that I'm alive in an era that we had Godzilla films, you know, and able to watch them. I went back a few years ago and I sat down and watched all of them in a row.
Do you watch it with your boy? Do you watch it with your boy?
All of them. Yeah, he watched a few of them with me. He loves Godzilla as much as I do. The fact that we bought the PS4 Godzilla game, which if you haven't ever played that, it's got all the monsters from every era of Godzilla, all the different looks Godzilla had. You can fight as Godzilla, and he loves Godzilla as much as I do. And so it's just one of those things that represents to me being happy and being not a care in the world kind of a thing. It's just fun. It's fun stuff. And it'll always be that to me. I'll always have that to me, except for the first one, which was deadly serious, which I also love that one too. So yeah, it's these movies mean a lot to me, and Godzilla means a lot to me. So,
well, and I think that's a good point, Chad. Is I never had that. I didn't experience them until I was too old and cynical to enjoy them. I wish I'd have had that.
Well, you did. There is a time when you get to an age as a kid that's like you got to put Godzilla away for a few years, and then I don't know, it comes back.
I haven't hit that age yet, apparently.
I know.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I do remember a time I was like, no, Godzilla's for kids, and but no, it came all back, and it just there's just this eternal love for the character. No, I love Godzilla, but okay, like I said, I admitted at the beginning, I realized I don't think I ever actually seen this film. I had always written it off, thought it was very much like the previous two, right? I probably even confused it with the previous two. Probably didn't realize it wasn't just the same movie, you know, that it wasn't just a renaming of the same movie. I don't know what
they did that a lot where they changed the names.
Right. Because you know, because you had the cosmic, well, it doesn't matter, but I had written it off. And watched it the other night, and I gotta say, don't do that. Don't write this movie off. It actually, you can write off the other one. Well, I don't know. I love King Caesar. It's just that character.
Yeah.
But you can. It's a bad movie. But this one actually, it was a strive. They were actually trying to recapture some of the glory days, if you will, from the 60s, right? When it was still a wrestling creature, if you will, but it wasn't totally kiddie oriented like it did right at the like 69.
Yeah, this is more like a throwback to Monster Zero, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it even predates, you know, Destroy All Monsters, which we've already talked about, you know, which has, you know, the little son of Godzilla in it and kind of gets cute, right? But there's so much else in that one that it gets over that. But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, Bill. And so I had a great. So where do I put this in the other films? And I think you're right, Bill. You have to kind of do it in the three tiers. You can't really mix and match, except for the first one. The first one you kind of put above all of them, and it rightly so. So this one, for me, it's a little in the mid tier for me, Bill.
No, fair enough.
It's because there's so many of the '60s ones that I really love. You know, Mothra and or versus the Thing is what we knew it as, right?
Right.
And then you know, King Kong Godzilla versus King Kong and such. And then some that I kept forgetting that were like Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, is actually a Godzilla film, right? And what's the other one? They
Abira.
Yeah. The Invasion of the Astro Monster is also another one. And they would hide Godzilla behind the titles from time to time and rediscover those. So I think this might actually be the last one of that era that I need to see. Didn't know it. So
cool.
Yeah.
Because I guess I tried to do what you did, Chad. Tried to watch them all, but I never make it to never make it this far. By the time Smog Monster comes, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. And then I'd skip ahead to I skip 84 and then go straight into what is it, the
Biolante.
Biolante, yes. Oh my God, Biolante.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Biolante's great.
But anyway, so that's where I stand with it. I have a new appreciation for this film with this episode. Yeah. So thank you very much, Bill.
Okay, cool.
All right, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So
I may live.
I may live. So what's really cool is that all these films are available on HBO Max right now.
Right?
Yeah, I think the Showa-Era.
Yeah, just about all of them, if not all of them.
Up through this movie that was on.
Yeah.
Criterion book or whatever.
And I've watched many of them on there.
The good prints, nice wide,
very
good stuff.
Yeah, and the original ones they're dubbed, so that which really gives it a different feel than I remember.
Yeah, Doc, you should probably really seek out King Kong versus Godzilla, because if they have the original Japanese version, you'll be hearing the soundtrack that was almost completely taken away in the American release, where they put in all the sound cues from Creature from the Black Lagoon.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, there you go. Please let us know what you think of this film. I know that I'm sure Jerry has some thoughts, right, Bill?
Yeah, Megalon all the way.
Mr. Chandler, he's but yeah. So if you want the pointy-eared, 4 toes and fangs, let's do it. All right, guys, we have some feedback there. Mr. Jeff Mohr, let's dive into it, shall we?
All righty. Well, strangely enough, our last episode, 164, Invasion of the B-Girls, just went live a few hours ago, and we've got feedback already.
Nah, I love it.
Nice.
From Gareth Miles, great review and beautifully illustrated. Cracking little film.
I wonder what that means.
I think there's a bit of a pun in there, I think. I'm guessing.
I think you like
that. Does that seem like this may be a Brit?
Cracking.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
But thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
But we appreciate it.
Yeah.
And someone should hire Gareth Miles to write taglines, because that's better than most of the ones that we get on these films.
Him and some of our other people. So then on episode 163, Horror Hospital, from Mike Zatz, who has now become Mikey Z, as we call him on Classic Era.
Love it.
I forget who came up with that. Was it? Or no,
I think that was Crystal.
That was the 80s. Hey, Crystal came up with that. All right. He says, I saw this as Computer Killers. I have no effing idea where they got that title. Michael Goff shamelessly, again, overacts as a quasi House of Wax villain mad scientist who does what for what? Motives, I think, is what he's talking to there. Questionable moments abound by today's standards, from the strange, insert synonym here, travel agent, oversexed music producer, writer, manager, still not sure of his vocation. As mentioned in the podcast, Benny Hill-esque motorbikers who don't seem to be acting when beating upon our hero. The physics of the Goldfinger type car blade doesn't make a lick of sense. Don't make a lick of sense. If the vehicle was a hovercraft, maybe. Now we're really
a different
jumping.
movie.
So, advice: if you're going to sneak up on someone in the shower, don't wear a metal helmet from a suit of armor, and please take it off when you begin to have sex. It can get very messy. Frederick is my favorite. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah. Frederick is my favorite character in the proceedings. Great rescue moment talked about already. Also, the scene when he is coerced to climb along the outside of the castle reminded me strangely of the "Here's Johnny" moment from The Shining. I don't know why. Yeah. I put this creature design with the oily maniac from episode 70 as one of the worst of 70s horror. And I do include the God Monster of Indian Flats, which unfortunately I have seen.
Sorry.
Our condolences.
I love the oily maniac.
I know you do.
I love God Monster of Indian Flats. How about that?
Me too.
Jeff owns the Blu-ray for both, so
I do not have the Blu-ray for God Monster, but
don't?
I've thought about it many times. I have the DVD, which I bought because it had 2 hours of extras, none of which have anything to do with the movie.
Well,
much anyway. I have seen. Let's see. Great podcast as usual. Keep rocking the decades, guys. Regarding your concern about my binging the episodes warping me, have no fear. Warp speed existed way before the binging.
That seems pretty obvious.
It's been warped.
Yeah.
Previously warped, I guess. Thanks, Mike. And now we have a little bit to talk about here. So this one's from Evil Genius, who used to be evil. And we couldn't figure out. He kept telling us, "Oh, you guys know who I am. Look at my avatar." And finally, I had to look and do an image search because I couldn't figure it out. It'd been so long since I saw the movie. It's the character Evil Genius from the Time Bandits.
Yeah,
David Warner. So that's where he got it.
And now we know.
After enough hints, and then even without the hints, I had to do an image search. And now I have to watch Time Bandits again. Thank you very much.
No.
So his comments are on episodes 160, 161, 10 favorite horror films of the 70s, which are the retro ones from, when did you record those, Doc?
2013.
Yeah, with Santos Ellen Jr., the Black Saint.
Monster Movie Podcast. Yep.
He says, great to hear the Black Saint again with some very good discussion. Cool factoid. Baron Samedi was the only supernatural character in a James Bond movie. He was in Live and Let Die, which also fits in that blaxploitation era, portrayed by Jeffrey Holder. Boy, I hadn't thought about him in a while. He had that great laughing voice.
Yeah.
What was the commercials he was in? Was it the
Uncola? 7-Up.
Uncola nut.
I was always with Santos on Manitou Island. It is a great film. He's correct about that movie being scary. When Miss Guamacus comes up through the table during the seance, that was really creepy. Yes. The mix of science versus the supernatural is a great hook. Also, I was thinking that this film was a great cosmic horror aspect, or has a great cosmic horror aspect. This movie was a Lovecraftian, not reading very well today. This movie has a Lovecraftian feel to it. Funny thing is, when I went to copy the name Misquamacus in Wikipedia, because no way I could remember how to spell it, I clicked on the linked version of the name. That brought me to its wiki entry with its relation to Nyarlathotep of Lovecraft fame. I laughed at myself when I saw that.
Well, plus, I think Misquamacus made in name only was mentioned in a couple of Lovecraft stories, I believe, too.
Yeah.
As one of the elder,
and he says, plus Misquamacus sounds like Miskatonic University, which figures heavily in many of Lovecraft's stories. He picked a good one for his favorite. The movie has firm horror roots.
Roots. I love it.
Roots.
Yeah. So for people that may not know, Santos Elton Jr., the Black Saint, was one of the first group of co-hosts with Horror News Radio.
Well, the founding members of H&R. Yep.
Yeah.
Got together, and unfortunately he passed away. And in 2017, September, man. And we still miss him.
Yeah, we do.
Every day. And this is a good one. Now we're going back in time. From episode 122, Jaws 2. From Game Man 1977. The plot of Jaws 2. Find shark, get fired, get shit-faced, go rogue, kill shark. Everyone's happy except the kids that got eaten.
In a nutshell.
They're not doing a
synopsis.
Yeah.
And you should be writing IMDb summaries or synopsis.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And last but not least, all the way back to episode 35, The Fury from Mikey Z. I saw this when it first came out in 1978. Jaws 2, Damien, Omen 2, The Boys from Brazil, Superman the movie, The Swarm, Halloween, and Brian De Palma's The Fury were some of this genre's films I saw in the theaters that year. Sorry, Black Saint the Manitou did not make the list that year. Great cast: Kirk Douglas, John Cassavetes, Amy Irving and Andrew Stevens, Charles Durning, Carrie Snodgrass, Fiona Lewis, and early appearances by Dennis Franz and Daryl Hannah.
That's crazy.
Based on a much better book by John Ferris. Yes, I'm a John Ferris fan. Mike, have you read Son of the Endless Night? We'll just leave that there. This film is still an entertaining bit of fare. Slow-mo Escape from the Institute is the centerpiece of this lesser known of De Palma's 70s output. Great atmospheric score by the great John Williams, who tries to copy the style of Bernard Herrmann. The last head explosion scene must have been filmed from 9 different camera angles. I wish there would have been more emphasis on the government-manipulated father-son estrangement rather than the Peter-Gillian relationship. The Robin character comes off as a spoiled, whiny kid with the power to literally blow your mind. As always, great podcast by Doc with guest Christopher G. Mohr brought back scenes to me to a film I have not seen in decades. Great insight by Chris regarding the film being a spy action film mixed with horror elements.
Yeah, it is.
So anyway, that's it for the feedback on this.
Thanks,
episode.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you.
Mike Zatz, Game Man, 1977. Evil Genius, as always, glad you're back and catching up. And especially Gareth Miles, we'd like more insightful comments like that, if possible.
Yes. We get quite a bit, and I'm so grateful for it. So grateful. What is our next episode? Who chose this? Chad, did you do this?
Yes.
Chad, what is our next film? Oh, finally, we're doing this one.
The Island of Dr. Moreau from 1977. Burt Lancaster. And it's on Tubi.
It's on Tubi.
Yeah, we're slowly sweeping through all the H.G. Wells offspring.
Yeah.
There you go.
We just did War of the Worlds on Classic Era. And we've already done Invisible Man and Island of Lost Souls.
I was going to ask if you did Island of Lost Souls. Yeah.
Yeah, this one, I remember it was such a big deal, all the makeup effects for this. And
we'll have a lot to talk about on this one.
Yes, this is going to be fun. Thankfully, there's no, well, we will get into that. The 90s one, woof. We'll leave that one alone.
Yeah.
There's no Marlon Brando.
No Marlon Brando, exactly what I was going to say, but I decided not to say it, but it's out there now. It'd be interesting because when you try to compare it to the original, you can't. Because
the original is the best of them.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. No question.
The 77 one is good. The other one, the Val Kilmer one, I don't know.
I don't know about that. No, indeed.
Got a good documentary out of it.
Yeah, got a good documentary.
That's true.
A lot of history out of that one. All right, well, that'll be wonderful. That's our next episode. Thank you, Chad.
Yep. Absolutely.
This one has been hovering in our eyesight for quite some time. It's been discussed as being one of them often, so I'm glad it's finally chosen. Thank you.
Mm.
All right, well, there you go. Is that the last of the 70s Godzilla films? Do we have any more?
Oh, yeah. Nope.
It is.
I'd have to go back and look. I don't know.
I think
that
we've
done. I don't know. Maybe.
We
Probably.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure there's other Tohos though.
Oh, there's probably some other. They're really obscure Tohos too. Strange ones. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you all so much for joining me, Bill, Chad, Jeff. As always, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's say good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Gruesome Magazine.